Good day all. We're here to present our project based on a inspiring leader. Our choice was Elon Musk, an engineer, inventor, and visionary leader. These are our group members, Jason and myself, Shane Fletcher, Purnima Jagannath, Adrian Prasad, Nicholas Hamilton, and Denise Clark. Elon Musk. Elon was born in 1971 in South Africa. He taught himself computer programming at a very young age, and at the age of 12, he created his first video game, Blaster, which he sold for $500. He also made an online directory called Zip2, to which Compaq acquired for $3 million. He then proceeded to found his second company, which was called PayPal, which solved the problem of online payments, and its rival eBay bought PayPal for $15 billion, to which Musk was the largest shareholder, thus accumulated a lot of wealth. With this wealth, he founded SpaceX in 2002. He then invested the remainder in Tesla and was made its CEO in 2010. He also tries to alleviate the problem of traffic congestion, so he develops a Hyperloop project, which is essentially a futuristic subway system. He also speaks of having nightmares of artificial intelligence one day taking over the world. So he launches OpenAI, a company that seeks to harness this artificial intelligence to benefit humanity. And in 2016, he tried to establish a company. Well, he established a company called Neuralink, which basically sets out to try to interface humans with computers in an attempt to solve diseases. As you can see, Elon did quite a lot. He has a lot of ideas, but for purposes of our project, we had to narrow our scope a little bit, so we decided to focus on SpaceX. My colleague Adrian Prasad will give a background into this organization.
SpaceX. Elon Musk founded space exploration technology because he believed a future where humanity is out exploring the stars is fundamentally more exciting than one where they are not, and dreams of one day being able to colonize and retire on Mars. SpaceX is a US-based company that designs, manufactures, and launches advanced rockets and spacecraft. SpaceX has revolutionized the space technology, being the only private company to return a spacecraft from low Earth orbit. The organization sets out to bring people together who share two key characteristics: one, the drive to be exceptional; two, the talent to back it up. The official mission statement of SpaceX is the company was founded in 2002 to revolutionize space technology with the ultimate goal of enabling people to live on other planets. At this time, I'll hand you over to Mr. Jagannath.
Alright, so the challenges and criticism faced by SpaceX. In 2006, SpaceX launched the first shuttle, Columbia, which failed 33 seconds after launch due to a rusty boot. In 2007, the company's next chance to establish credibility also ended in failure, as this second shuttle launch had engine failure. In 2008, yet another launch failed, as this rocket, as it entered the atmosphere, broke into two, collided, and ended up in the ocean in a massive explosion. In 2015, a SpaceX rocket vaporized shortly after launch. In 2016, SpaceX loses another rocket before launch after the vehicle transporting this rocket ended up in difficulties. Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan were both publicly criticized for their efforts placed into SpaceX plan to shift the crew from the spaceships to separate spacecrafts to transport into outer space. Seeing that all these failures were occurring to SpaceX, majority of the world and the large aerospace companies were against or betting against SpaceX that they would not succeed in their endeavors. I now pass you on to Denise Clark to speak more on the hegemons and key attitudes of Elon Musk.
Good afternoon. Hegemon. Other mindedness. He's not focused on his existence. He's focused on the existence of humanity. Sustainable energy, clean transportation, and interplanetary space travel. He seeks criticism. When he delivers a product, he asks people to tell him what they don't like, because this approach is his own, in his own word is, you should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. He challenges his existing beliefs. He sets out to upset the status quo by asking tough questions. Explore the fundamental truth behind the challenges in his life and exploring how things really work by making why his favorite question to ask. I will now pass you on to Nicholas Hamilton to continue.
Another hegemon of Mr. Musk is that he practices for failure. When starting a company with a mission for interplanetary exploration, failure is a viable option. Instead of throwing in the towel, Mr. Musk anticipated for failure and created a contingency plan for SpaceX, in that if they did not get the first SpaceX rocket launched to succeed by the time they spent in the first 3 tries, the company would be shut down. And lastly, his unparalleled ambition. Mr. Musk is extremely motivated and driven, and this can be seen even after 3 launch failures of the SpaceX rocket. He had the tenacity to continue and persist through the odds. My colleague Shane will now explain overcoming some challenges.
Hi, good evening everyone. How Mr. Musk overcome all his challenges in terms of SpaceX. Right, the first launch failed, also did so too does the second. Right, but in light of everything, his third and last attempt, he boldly predicted that SpaceX will successfully launch the first rocket, resulting in them winning a $1.6 billion contract from NASA for 12 resupply flights into the International Space Station. He had a vision to produce rocket launches as cost-efficient as possible, and SpaceX was sending rockets to space at 1/3 the cost of any other agency in the business. Musk had gone all out for SpaceX launches, which, fortunately for him, turned out to be a big success. In a moment of vulnerability, while being interviewed about his detractors, such as Armstrong and Sinin, he was noticeably upset with his eyes welling up with tears. And then, for instance, later he turned around and said, despite his hero's doubts, nothing would stop him from making his vision into reality. Right? This drive of his has been the backbone of SpaceX as they continue to innovate under his leadership, and recently got one step closer to interplanetary travel with the launch of Falcon Heavy rocket, which is the largest reusable rocket created. I'll now hand you over to Vijay.
So, by developing this project, certain traits of Elon Musk really stood out to us and was an example for us. One, that he always practices for failure. He always has a contingency plan set and is always ready to develop the next big thing. He never ever gives up, no matter how much his back is up against the wall, no matter how much people give their negative opinions, he's never ready to give up. He has unparalleled ambition. He's always trying to try something new, all to benefit humanity. And he lets nothing stand in his way of his dreams. He has a dream of colonizing Mars, and some people think he's absolutely crazy, but he does not let that stop him. He actually plans to retire on Mars. That being said, This code is what really stood out to us and what really we would carry forward in our endeavors in life. If something is important enough, you should try even if the probable outcome is failure. This concludes our presentation, and the following is a breakdown based on the group members, the contribution what they contributed, and the mark assigned. Basically, as you can see, all the group members contributed evenly, all were integral to this project, and as the group leader, I believe, it's my opinion, that everyone be assigned the maximum mark of 3. Thank you.